All right, y'all. So today we're going to be talking about price action candlesticks. If you've been with me for a while, then y'all know that I really trade the same candlesticks over and over and over and over again. I teach these same candlesticks over and over and over and over again. And we use these candlesticks for structure. But as a coach, my job is to make understanding the charts easier for the traders, right? That's why I get on here on live. That's why I have a YouTube channel, Instagram channel, right? All these things. Because I understand that like there are a lot of you who are coming to the market and you're brand new and you really want to learn how to trade these charts for yourself. Maybe you're teaching yourself, or maybe you're learning someone else's strategy and you're still just trying to understand how to read the market. Yesterday in yesterday's live, we talked about exchange rates. We talked about how to read the currency pair's name. We talked about the trend yesterday, but today we're going to add a little bit more into it. So at this moment, I am literally on three platforms. I'm on Instagram, TradingView, YouTube. Okay. But right now I'm looking at the camera for my YouTube and trading view. So if you're here on Instagram and you want to join, the link is in my stories. So make sure y'all check that if you want to join us on either of these other platforms so you can see the charts with us. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump into this because I only have an hour. So I'm gonna try to do this in less than an hour. Okay. So one of the things that we talked about yesterday was, when you're looking at the chart, we're looking at the exchange rates that are on our price scale. If you guys notice, I am on a different currency pair and a different time frame. I am on Euro AUD. So we're kind of gonna like back test this a little bit, back test the candlestick theory that I have. So maybe it can help you along in your journey, further you along in your journey to improve your trading stats or your just the way you look at the charts in general. So price action candlesticks, what are they? First thing first, you guys, price action is just a visual representation of where your exchange rates are or where they were, or basically where price was and where it could go. So we need a visual aid. Like remember when we were in school, they had like the line charts, the bar charts. But whenever we would read those charts, there were sentences, the word sentences that went behind what the bar chart or the slope chart or the line chart, what it represented, right? That's what we do here in the currency market. When we say, hey, price is at $1.50. Well, what does that look like on the price chart? But what does that actually mean? And what is the action that you're supposed to take, right? That's what we're figuring out as traders. So that's what we're looking at. Now, there are four candlesticks that I think just repeat themselves over and over and over again. When we look on the internet, or if you've ever looked on the internet and maybe you just typed in the best price action candlesticks or candlestick patterns, right? You're probably met with so many patterns to memorize, it gets overwhelming. I know it gets overwhelming. I've been there before, right? But what we can do, and what I've learned to do, is just categorize the candlesticks and just know them by their character. So that's what I'm going to teach y'all how to do. A lot of times we get so caught up in color, just like the world. We're so caught up in color, white, black, brown, whatever, right? I'm here to tell y'all that not every candlestick color matters. It doesn't. You really have to look at the character of the candlestick, just like the character of a person. And we have to understand what we can do with those candlesticks. Now, these candlesticks that I'm going to be mentioning, like I said, I put them in four candlestick categories. The first category is a rejection candlestick hammer and inverted hammer. Second candlestick category, bullish and bearish engulfing candlestick. Third candlestick category is a spinning top or a bottom. You've probably heard these be called haramis. To me, I think they're the same candlestick. The last one is going to be a doji. You've probably heard of like doji plus confirmation. I think the confirmation candlestick is one of the three candlesticks I just mentioned above. It could be a hammer or inverted hammer. It can be a bullish or bearish engulfing candlestick or a spinning top or a spinning bottom. And we're going to look at these on our price charts today. But it's not just enough to trade the candlesticks. It's not. We still need structure with the candlesticks. And when we look at structure, just like how we talked about yesterday, if you were in yesterday's live, if you missed yesterday's live, if you're on Instagram, y'all can go and catch that after this. Or I do have it here on YouTube as well and on TradingView, okay? So you have three different platforms to watch yesterday's live to catch up. But one of the things that I mentioned was when price is in a downtrend, like how we have this example here, the downtrend, We want to trade below the last lower highs exchange rate. So that's where our structure is going to go. Structure is basically an entryway or doorway. Where are you entering your trades, right? And like we talked about yesterday, there are so many concepts. We can have support and resistance, supply and demand, trend lines, chart patterns like an ascending, wedge, descending, flat, all of that, right? You have to choose what concept matters to you. And whatever line or zone you place on your chart, just understand when the market is trending, where to place that structure. So in the downtrend, we're going to place it below the lower high. Uptrend, we're going to place it above the last higher low. We're going to keep it that simple. But what we're going to do when price reaches structure is also important. We're going to use one of those candlestick categories that I just named. I'm a firm believer it takes one candlestick to enter a trade, and it could be one of these. And we don't want to just say, oh, well, I only enter trades on engulf on a spinning top or a bottom. Those don't always print on our price chart. As a trader, you got to trade what the market is giving you, right? Like that's how we're supposed to trade. Trade what it gives you, and just we got to be grateful for whatever is given, but price needs to touch structure. So I'm going to use this mock-up and then we're going to go on the price chart. And after this session, if y'all want to know more, you want to trade these, I've done 3 to 4 price action master classes in the last 2 months. Y'all can get those replays. I put them all in one. It's called the price action masterclass replay. And you guys purchase it, watch it. It's a full blown strategy for you, right? So you can learn how to use these candlesticks to enter the trade, where to place your stops, where to place your take profit, and then move forward, right? So in a downtrend, as stated, when price in a downtrend, we're met with lower lows and lower highs. I'm a firm believer to see a downtrend, you only need to see 2 lower lows, 1 lower high. Structure is going to go below that lower high. And you want price to pull back to that structure, print one of those candlesticks, and then you can enter the trade and it sell. Same thing for the uptrend. 2 higher highs, 1 higher low. Make sure y'all writing this down. Okay. 2 higher highs, 1 higher low. You want to place structure above your higher low. You want price to come and meet your structure. You need to touch, right? We need price to touch structure. And then we're going to take one of these 4 candlesticks, whatever one prints, and then we're going to be buying in the uptrend. All right. So market structure plus price action equals permission. It gives you permission to enter your trade. Now I have to say this, you guys. You're either going to make structure as easy or as hard as you want it to be. You're going to make your strategy as easy or as hard as you want it to be. And I pray you guys make your strategy easy. Make plotting structure easy. Make seeing your trend easy. Make entering your trades easy. That's what we want to do as traders. Okay. So let's look at it. Yesterday we talked about the highs and the lows and where to place your price note tool. Remember, this price note tool is our guide. It's going to show us the most important exchange rates to focus on. This is how we're going to understand the price in an uptrend or a downtrend. But now we're going to add more to that. What candlestick told the story that price will pull back? What candlestick told the story that price could continue its momentum? So let's look at it here. We are met with higher highs and higher lows. We're going to talk the price note tools out, right? Talk the exchange rates out. Yesterday we talked about that. So we have 1.63849. Price pulled back to 1.62624. Now we're going to put this in the dollar terms because when we look at Euro AUD, the euro is what's being sold to the people who live in Australia. Australian people, remember the price scale, it says AUD. They are the ones with the exchange rate. So €1 can cost any exchange rate in the Australian dollar at this time, right? So you have to know this information as a trader. Who is buying the euro? It's the Australians. So €1 at one given point costs $1.63849 Australian dollar cents, right? Then it went to $1.62,624 Australian dollar, $1.649 Australian dollar, $1.62808, and so forth and so forth. Now, every time price makes a higher high, it is showing us that the buyers have control. So, what candlesticks led with the information? What candlesticks keep repeating themselves? Well, let's look at it. At the top here, look at the wicks. Everything is in the wicks. We're not going to complicate the wicks, okay? Now, you can see like we have a very long wick at the top, small candlestick wick at the bottom. The body of the candlestick is towards the low. You could say this is an inverted hammer. Why? Because of the wicks, right? We know that for an inverted hammer, it looks like an upside down hammer. That's all we need to know. Some of you may say, well, this could also be a doji. Cool. So if you call it a doji, because dojis look like different variations of crosses, then what you have to also say is, well, what's the next candlestick that gave it away? Because dojis are indecisive candlesticks. Doji just basically means we don't know what direction price went in. Did it go up? Did it go down? We don't know. Okay. The next candlestick, if you look at it, once again, it has a long wick at the top, shorter wick at the bottom. Candlestick body is towards the bottom. This could be another inverted hammer. Sometimes I'm met with this question, Shaquan, does the candlestick body matter? Well, let's look at it. Let's think about it like this. This is how I like to explain it. Okay. I'm a black woman who lives in America. Okay. And there may be another black woman sitting next to me who also lives in America. People are going to group us together as being black and being women. That's what they're going to say. But me and this woman could be different sizes. She could be skinnier than me. She could be bigger than me. But that's okay because we're still in the same category, right? Black and woman. You're going to know us by the character, like by our character. Are we nice? Are we mean? Do we have joy? Right? Like what do we like? What do we like to do? Because then it's going to give you the impression of who we are. Candlesticks are the same. Get your impression by the character of the wicks. The body doesn't really matter. It could be big, it could be small. All it's telling you is how much volume happened in that day, right? So I can say, listen, there wasn't too much volume between the open and the candle closure. Your price went all the way up to $1.63849. Then it went down to $1.63208, but price closed at $1.63342, kind of close to the previous day's closure or the previous 4 hour closure, whatever time frame you're looking at. And if you say this is a doji and you look at the next candlestick, you can say, yeah, that's a strong bearish inverted hammer because just like this candlestick, the wick is longer on the top than the bottom and it has a bigger body. But I'm more now convinced that price could go down in the next coming hours. Y'all see what I'm saying about that? Then price goes down 1.62624, then it goes back up. But what candlestick pushed price back up? If we look at this, you can say it's a spinning bottom or another inverted hammer, and you have to look at it by the wicks. A spinning top or a spinning bottom, let me explain that because the location is in the name. So a spinning bottom, the way in the spinning top, the way I explain it is, it's like a candlestick body in the middle of wicks that look equal on each side. You might look at this and say, the wicks kind of look the same on each side. I don't know what I can say about it. To me, if I see a candlestick like that, especially at a bottom or low, and price still goes up anyway, I call it a bottom. That's why we call it a spinning bottom because it's at a low. If this same candlestick was at a high, I can say, okay, now it's a spinning top. But if you say, nah, Shaquan, I still think the wick is bigger on the top than the bottom, and the candlestick body is towards the bottom, we can say, okay, it's an inverted hammer, and price still pushed up. Notice how I still haven't even mentioned color yet. Sometimes we get so convinced that color matters, and some candlesticks they don't, because a bearish candlestick at a low can still push price up. It's all about character. Now let's look at this. Price goes up to $1.64009, pushing past the previous high. And this is how we know that the buyers still have control because price went up. But then we see this bearish candlestick and we say, okay, this could be where price could pull back. And now that we have this higher high, remember in yesterday's live session that we had, what did we say about this? When price makes a higher high, where don't we want price to go? We don't want it to pass the last low. Why? Because this is an uptrend and we want price to continue up, and we're trying to figure out the best place to buy before price goes up again. And the best exchange rate to buy above is the last higher low because we wanted to continue that trend. So what candlestick can give us that pullback before we buy? Well, let's look at it. This is another inverted hammer because look at the wicks. Longer wick on the top than the bottom. Same as this candlestick. Same as this candlestick. The body is just different. There was a lot of volume of sellers in this time frame, in this time period. And we can say, okay, this may stop the momentum right here and push price down so that we can be the buyers in the upcoming candlesticks, right? Did that happen? Let's look. Price goes down. Now look at these two candles because I like this formation right here. Look at this candlestick right here because the wicks look almost even with these two candlesticks. So you can place this price note tool on either candlestick, but just look at it for a quick second. What does this candlestick look like? We just talked about it. It looks like a spinning bottom. Why? Because the wicks look equal on each side of the candlestick body. So we can say, listen, this might be a candlestick that stops the momentum or stops price from pushing down more and then change the momentum so price can go back up and we can be the buyers back up towards $1.64. Now, you might be a person who says, I need a little bit more convincing, and that's fine. Look at the next candlestick. We can say that this bullish candlestick can be a bullish engulfing, right? Now, I think the candlestick that matters when it comes to colors are the bullish and bearish engulfings because they're the bigger candlesticks, right? I think you do got to look at color in that instance. But the reason why this could be a bullish engulfing is because this whole candlestick and the wicks are bigger than the previous candlestick, right? And it also looks like a hammer. Why does this blue candlestick, mine is blue, yours may be green, or whatever color you have it, but why does this candlestick look like a hammer? Look at the wicks once again. The candlestick wick is longer on the bottom than the top. Candlestick body is pushed up more towards the top. That's a hammer. Some of you may say, well, what if it has a smaller hammer body? I think that's great too. It's still a hammer at the end of the day. Now look at it like this. Black man, two black men sitting next to each other. They can be different colors. They can be different sizes, but they still fit in that category. Okay. So watch this though. This is how we put the picture together. What candlestick are we really trading above if we say we're going to buy? Y'all, we are really trading above 1.62624, the spinning bottom or the inverted hammer. We're trading above that candlestick. That's what we're doing in the market. Remember, we can use these candlesticks as structure. If I was trading this, I get asked this all the time. How do you trade? I trade above the higher low candlestick. This candlestick is my structure for this trade going into the future. That's how I personally trade. I don't look left for support and resistance personally. I don't want to use a trend line. I literally want to use the higher lows in an uptrend, that candlestick, lower highs in a downtrend. And when price comes to say, hey, I can stay above that previous higher low candlestick or below that previous lower high candlestick, I am trading that. I'm trading that. And I don't want to confuse what I'm doing with so many lines, so many structures, one structure at a time, one higher low at a time, one lower high at a time. And let's continue. Did these two candlesticks say, hey, we can go back up? Yeah, we're pushing back up. And then what did price do? Price passed 1.64009, made a new high. And then price started to pull back. But at what candlestick did price stop at? This is the momentum candle and the price drop. We have a beautiful hammer. Why is this a hammer? Because if we look at it, the hammer, the wick at the top is shorter. The one on the bottom is longer. The candlestick body is towards the top. It had a lot of buyers in this day. That's why that candlestick is so big. The body is big. It had a lot of volume in this day. Buying pressure in this day. The buyers really wanted price to go up. Sellers pushed it right back down. We're still in an uptrend though. When I was a premature trader, when I was day trading back in my beginning days, I thought, oh, if I see a bearish candlestick, I should just sell the market. I had no understanding about trend. And then after about 2 years, and I fully got an understanding of how the trend works, trading the candlesticks became a little bit easier. It wasn't simple. It wasn't that easy. It became a little bit easier. It didn't become easier until I took stuff off my price chart. Okay. But look what happens. Price pulls back. This candlestick was the momentum stopper. And then what happens? What's a candlestick that we want price to stay above? Remember the last higher low, which depending on how you place your price note tool, is either the spinning top or the hammer or the bullish engulfing, whichever you call this candlestick. This is where we want price to stay above. Did it do it? Yes, it did. I place my structure somewhere in here. Boom, price comes and touches it. I want to enter the trade. Or which trade can I enter in on? Which candlestick can I enter in on? It's the one that touches my candlestick first. I'm sorry, my structure first. Depending on how I place it, it could be the inverted hammer, which is right here, or the bullish engulfing. All I'm saying is once price touches your structure and you see how a candlestick closes and you can name the candlestick, you guys, this is how we enter our trades. One of these four candlesticks. This is why yesterday I spoke so much on talking out loud. Name the candlestick. You can say this is a bullish engulfing and it's subjective. Because some people say, well, I see a bullish engulfing as just the candle body being bigger than the previous candle body. Some of y'all are going to say, well, I look at the wicks and the candlestick body. I'm going to say it's whatever you call it. This also looks like a hammer. Why? Because the wick on the bottom is longer than the one on the top. Candlestick body is pushed up. There were a lot of buyers. They really wanted price to stay above $1.62.8. And this is how we can say, okay, can price continue up? This was the momentum candle that pushed price up. Now look how these repeat. This is why I say these candlesticks repeat themselves. Just watch. We have an inverted hammer, spinning bottom or inverted hammer, hammer or bullish engulfing or another hammer, hammer, hammer. These candlesticks keep repeating themselves. And guess where else they're going to repeat themselves? The full price chart. Every single candlestick is one of these candlesticks. But we can't care about every single candlestick. We have to care about where the most important candlesticks are located. Okay, that's what's important. Now let's look at the downtrend really quick. I'm trying to keep close tabs on time. Now, remember the very first candlestick that we looked at, right? Didn't it look just like this candlestick? Let's go back. Look at this candlestick. And then price went down. And then look at this candlestick. Okay? Once again, they're going to repeat themselves. They may not all look the same all the time, but they can be similar. We have another inverted hammer, or you could say it's a doji confirmation where you have two dojis back to back. And then look at this candlestick right here. What does this candlestick look like? You can say it's a spinning top because the candlesticks look even on each side. I'm sorry, the candlestick wicks. Maybe it's something different to you. Maybe it's a bearish engulfing to you. It's whatever you call it at this point after the doji. If you believe that this is a doji confirmation, or maybe this really is an inverted hammer to you because the wick is longer on the top than the bottom. Once again, we look at the character of the candlestick. And then look what happens. We see price start to flow and price start to go into this downtrend. And then what happens as price in this downtrend? Well, let's look at it. We can see we have a flow now. Okay, well, what's causing the flow? What candlesticks are causing price to go up and then causing price to go down? We have a hammer. Why is this a hammer? Because if we look at the wick on the bottom, it is longer than the one on the top. Great. Then price goes up and comes right back down to make a new lower low. What candlestick pushed it back down? Instagram people, look at the pinned comment. It says check stories for the link. Warren, check your stories for the link. You gotta look at the pinned comment, sweetie. Look at the pinned comment. You guys can get on the charts and see it with us, okay? Every time I'm on a chart, I'm gonna post a link somewhere so y'all can see it. It's a bearish engulfing candlestick. Now, this is a clear bearish engulfing candlestick as well. How do we know? Well, let's look at it. Look at the wick, look at the body. It is bigger than the previous candlestick. That's a clear bearish engulfing candlestick. Then price goes down. And what candlestick is this? Before it goes back up, it's a hammer. These two candlesticks are in the same category, hammer, hammer. The only difference is this wick is just a little bit longer. This was a bearish hammer. There was more sellers in that day, but did price not go back up? It did. So we're not going to pay attention to the color. We're going to pay attention to the fact that they are hammers and they signify if they're at a high or a low, price could go up or price could go down. And this is one of the biggest tips I'm going to give y'all. To establish what a candlestick is, wait for price to pull back. Wait for price to pull back. Wait for it to pull back. That's what I'm going to say. Listen, here's a great live example right now. I'm actually in the sale on this pair right now. Caught it from the top here. But what can be the follow through if price can continue down? What would be the follow through? Let's do an example together. You have an inverted hammer that helped price go down. How do we know? Let's look at the trend. $1.65, 719, $1.64, 712, $1.65, 699. Price stayed below the bearish engulfing candle. So now that price, and I don't know how this candlestick is going to close. Like we have what, 33 more minutes until this candlestick closes. And I highly encourage y'all that if you are on TradingView and you are using TradingView to analyze your price charts, one of the things that you can do when you're analyzing is make sure your timer is on. So you know when your next candlestick is going to close. Make sure that timer is on. Okay. So that's how I know, like now there's another 32 minutes and 40 seconds before this candlestick closes. This candlestick may close as a rejection candlestick hammer, right? So if it does that, I'm going to say, okay, this is where the momentum might stop. And if price can stay below this inverted hammer, I'm going to place my structure. I'm going to put in a pending order. I am going to trade below that inverted hammer or $1.69699. If we round this off, this is really $1.66 Australian dollar cents. And that's how I'm going to get my trade. Look at the repeated candlesticks: hammer, bearish engulfing, hammer, inverted hammer. And if price really does continue up, and this is a true hammer, I'm going to call this a hammer, set the structure, trade. And then if you're the one, like I do pending orders and manual orders, just depending on how I feel. But if you're one who does a market order and you place your structure, all you're going to do is just wait for price to come back to your structure, print one of these candlesticks, boom, sell off. That's what you're going to do. You're welcome. I just saw your comment. You're welcome. That's how we're going to trade these. Okay. This is how we use it. This is how we use it. And honestly, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I teach this almost every week. Every week I'm doing something like this, right? The same thing happened on Pound CAD as well recently. Let's go to Pound CAD. Same thing happened on Pound CAD. Watch this. Look at the continuous uptrend on Pound CAD. This is Pound CAD on the 4-hour time frame. Once again, the very first thing you want to do is look at your highs and your lows, right? Just check out your highs and your lows. Now, let's just go from here. We had a higher high. We had a higher low. We had a higher high, right? A week or so ago, that's all you needed. Just 2 higher highs and 1 higher low. What candlestick is at your low right here? Like, let's look at it. What candlestick is on the lowest part of the wick? We can say is an inverted hammer. Why can we say that? Because the wick is bigger or longer on the top than the bottom. Okay, wick is longer on the top than the bottom. Price pushed up, made a new high, and then it pulled back. What candlestick caused price to pull back? The hammer, inverted hammer. Longer wick on the top than the bottom. That's how we know. Y'all check the stories from my link. If you're in my broadcast channel, there's a link to my YouTube and there's a link to my trading view. So y'all can hop on the charts with us, okay? So what candlestick will I be wanting to trade above? The inverted hammer. That's what I want to trade above. So my structure will go above 1.7071 and the candlestick is my structure. And we just keep that going. And so what candlestick would have been my entry? I'm going to probably set a pending order at this time, right? So I don't have to worry about that. But if you're one of those people, I would say either the inverted hammer would have been your, actually, yeah, the inverted hammer would have been your entry. If you're very aggressive, I'm sorry, the hammer. If you're very aggressive, the inverted hammer. If you're a color person, the hammer. Because you wouldn't have known that any of this after would have happened. And so let's talk about that too. When it comes to entering your trades, this is one thing that I firmly teach. I firmly teach this thing. Okay. Is this when it comes to trading, once price touches your structure and you say, I'm a person who sets market orders, do not chase price. When price touches and then price closes, and if you can name the candlestick, go ahead and enter the trade. Every class I have people speak out the candlestick out loud. What candlestick was this? They'll say it. Okay, now do you believe that you can enter on that candlestick, yes or no? If they say yes, it's an entry. No, then let's wait for the next candlestick because some of you just may be attached to color. Some of you may say, well, I hear what you're saying about the wicks. I hear what you're saying about the repeated candlesticks, but can it be one of the ones that's a color that goes to my favor? Most definitely. But there's a con that comes with waiting. Sometimes price might go in your favor very drastically with so much momentum, and then you miss out on the trade because that happens a lot. I don't know how many of y'all have been there. I've been there where I I want to enter a trade, and I'm waiting for the next candlestick. Boom, price just goes because maybe some news came out, or that's just how it was supposed to work, and now I'm just out of a trade because I waited. Sometimes our wait can get us in trouble. Sometimes we can be too patient, and then what we do, we try to chase the trade and then you don't have a favorable reward to risk. And that's why once price hits our structure and the candlestick forms and we can name the candlestick, honestly, that's probably one of the best trades you can get in. That's as simple as you want to keep it. Keep it that simple. Okay. That's all I got. If y'all want to learn more on how we do this, how do you take these four candlesticks and put them into a strategy? Or what's the strategy you can use? Y'all, I teach this in my price action masterclass. So what I did was every masterclass that I teach, I put it in the same place so y'all can go and access it and then you can watch it. So there's I think 3 or 4 price action masterclasses. Um, if you go to my stand store, you guys on YouTube, you guys on Instagram, you guys here on Trading View, go to my stand store and y'all can catch the replays. Okay. And that way you'll have a done for you strategy. So are there any questions before I go? And if you're one of those ones who struggles with price action, and if you have a question about it with how you can get better with your price action, what will be your question? Hey, Cassie, how are you doing? I hope it's Cassie or Casey. How are you doing, sweetie? And then for everyone on YouTube, what I'm going to do is, especially if you're my broadcast channel, of course, y'all know I'm going to put the replay in my stories and in the broadcast channel. Do you provide one-on-one coaching? Hey, Curly Pop, I do provide one-on-one coaching. So use my Stand Store link and book a one-on-one with me. Thank you, Solutions, for that. I appreciate that. What chart and time frame was I on? I was on Euro AUD 4 hour And then I just hopped over to pound CAD for our time frame as well. You're welcome. So, any questions, you guys, if you're struggling with price action or your strategy? Would price action work for futures? Yes, because y'all look at price charts too. Price action works. I mean, anywhere where there's a price chart is price action. Whether you're using a line chart, that's price action. Whether you're using hollow candlesticks, bar candlesticks, range candlesticks. All of that is price action. You just decide what visual form that you look at your charts in, right? Like for me, I also invest in stocks, right? So of course I'm looking at the price action candlesticks. I'm looking at the highs. I'm looking at the lows. So yes, it does work the same. I think, man, one of the charts I love looking at for futures is cocoa. I don't know why, but Coco is beautiful. Coco has a very consistent trend. She is just amazing through and through. Such a beautiful chart. Coco is awesome. But yes, it does work in futures as well. Now I will say this too. Um I'll answer that question in just a second, Curly Pop. So the thing about price action and when we're trading is, y'all see how consistent this flow is? The flows are not always this consistent on just one pair, right? Or one stock or one index. We have to catch these. And when they give it to us, you need to really be present to take on these opportunities because anything can change, in the economy. Anything can change fundamentally, anything can change economically. And this is why I know some people look at the fundamentals. I am not a fundamental trader. I'm one of those ones who see price move and I'm like, oh my God, what happened? Like when I seen the way euro moved today, pound moved today, I'm like, oh my God, what happened? And I went and read up on what happened. I'm one of those type of traders, right? I'm not going to read the fundamentals first. It just gives me anxiety. Um, so you just got to know if the pair or the market or the asset that you're trading can give you a consistent flow, because if not, it's going to keep taking your money and you may win a trade here or two, but you're not going to be happy. You got to trade your happy meter. Right? You have to be happy with what you're using and what you're trading and what time frame or time frames that you're on. There's no one rule that says you can't trade one time frame, because I know some people who do just trade one time frame. I know some people who just trade one strategy, who just trade one asset. I know people who trade multiple strategies and multiple assets. There's no one rule. You just need to know if what you do will work for you. That's what you need to do. Hey, certified. Well, hi, sweetie. He said, love you, mama, the best forest guru ever. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate the kind words. Do you use MACD indicator? I do not use indicators when I personally trade. I personally just use price action. Now, in the beginning of my trading career, I used a lot of indicators. The first indicator I used was the SAR, SAR, the little dots that show up when price going up and down. I couldn't understand that thing. Um, the other indicators that I was using was like the zigzag. I used the MACD. I think there was like three different MACDs that I used. RSI. When I started teaching, a lot of people use the Ichimoku cloud, but to me that wasn't nothing but the Bollinger Band with moving averages in it. I never used it. I tried the Bollinger Band, didn't like it for me personally. What else? God, stochastics. I tried stochastics. I tried so many indicators. And I just think that for me personally, if I can see price move, I just think it's best for me to watch price. I think it's just best for me to know and understand what's happening on the price chart with my eyes and make my personal decision off of price movement first before I add an indicator. And if I do use indicators, I will say this: moving averages. But it's not for what you think. I like moving averages for noise. Like I always say this, I like the noise of moving averages. But I do think two of the best indicators a trader can use, is it's just my personal opinion, are moving averages and the RSI. RSI for momentum, and then moving averages, like the smaller moving averages for current trend. I honestly feel that way. I even have a moving average video on YouTube and in my reels. The RSI I don't like overbought, oversold. I like the momentum of the RSI. Like if a currency pair keeps going oversold, you will see the buyers clear as day. I'm sorry, not oversold, overbought. You'll see the buyers clear as day, and it won't be able to go oversold for a while. If you see that the RSI keeps going oversold, the sellers have the momentum. You won't see it really go overbought. It's something that's not taught a lot. A divergence is taught a lot. I don't know why. Um, but yeah, so I would say those two indicators work really well. Price action is the best. I agree. Price action is really good. Price action is like where it's at. Once I got stuff off my price chart and just started to just focus on price action, y'all, my whole game plan changed. I was like, bet. And then when I started to um categorize these candlesticks, oh my God, like trading was so night and day after that. And I got my groove. And I'm gonna tell y'all what helped me transform as a trader really is teaching. I tell people this all the time. I think I'm a great teacher because I talk about the charts a lot. I teach it a lot. I can see my errors. I can see other people's errors. And it's more fixable. If you keep everything up here, oh my gosh, it's gonna drive you insane. You ever seen like psychologists who or hear about psychologists or psychiatrists who like they go crazy. I think they go crazy because they keep so many people's secrets up here, and that's why they need a psychologist or a therapist so they can get some stuff out on their chest and stuff like that. Ultimately, that's why God tells us to confess our sins daily to one another, because if you keep your sin to yourself, more than likely you're going to stay in sin. You're going to stay in hiding. But if you speak things out loud, it's harder for you to stay in hiding. So that's why I like to teach personally. Does your twin trade with you? So, fun fact, I'm a triplet, not a twin. I'm a triplet. They do not trade, but they do have their own businesses. We all have our own businesses. So no, they don't trade. I wish they would. One of them actually recently asked me to teach her how to trade. I don't know how serious she is about that. But whenever she's ready, like I told her, give me 3 or 4 hours accumulatively, meaning like an hour a day with her, because I'm not going to overwhelm her with this. But like, give me like an hour a day of her time, and I would teach her how to do what I do. And I think she'll be really good at it. I really do, because my sisters are freaking smart. I mean, my God, they're my mama blessed us with some brains, right? Um, but yeah, I don't know. Prayerfully, she does. I hope they do one day. I think it's really great. They send a lot of people my way to teach them too, so I think it's great. Any other questions, you guys? If you're struggling with price action, or if you have a question about your strategy or anything before I go, I got like a few more minutes on here. And thank y'all for rocking with me too. Thank y'all for being on here with me too. You know, I think trading is so wonderful. I really do. I like teaching it a lot better. But I do think, man, this industry that we in is just amazing. And when you get your thing down pat, when you find a pair that works for you, when you find the time frames that work for you, like go for it. That's what I say. All right, y'all know how I feel when I don't see no more questions. I think we good. I think y'all got it. And make sure y'all go back and watch these, okay? Trust me, I'm never offended when there's no questions. I just think I'm that good of a teacher if you ain't got that many questions. Or maybe you're a very private person. Do you have mentorship group? I have a coaching group. Yes, it's a small group of traders that I do teach. Yes. So it's a part of my Trade on Purpose community. So what we do is we meet every single Sunday. We talk about life. We talk about the charts. I back test with them. If they have questions, I answer them. So we stay on there for about an hour, maybe 2 hours on Sundays, and then they go do their things, right? Because they're all working people. Put a few charts in the group. If they have updates or need to be applauded or something, then we go from there. Then yeah, for the most part, I actually talk to them. I talk to most of them one on one through email, through text, or like they'll call or something. Because some of them have my number. Some have my number. So yeah, so I try to be personal with them because once again, a lot of traders are very private. And I don't like big groups where everybody is talking as well, right? So I do have that. But I say this, when you come in, you really have to be able to say, I want to put my own effort into what I'm doing, because One thing I'm not doing, I'm not picking nobody's currency pair for them. I don't think it's fair for me to say trade what I trade, trade how I trade. I could stifle your career like that. But the information is very transformational because you can still use the same information, find your asset, find your time frame, and then use it. I'm shown through plenty of videos on Instagram, plenty of videos on YouTube that you can trade any asset with this, right? You can trade any time frame with this. It's all about your effort. Tell you what my mentor told me years ago: when you're learning something, you put your value into it, you put your heart into it, and you have something that nobody can take away from you. And so that's what I like to give people. I give you the system, I give you the strategy. Now you go use it to bring glory and value to your family or to your friends. Like you use that information to better yourself. So yeah, I do have that. Good news. Awesome. All right, you guys, I'm about to get ready to go. If there's no more questions, okay? Listen, y'all, watch this, watch the replay, trade safely because I don't know, is there news tomorrow? I'm not sure. Oh, and if you're on trading view too, y'all know y'all can look at the news, right? Like they have a calendar where you can go and look at the different news and stuff like that in the data, because some of y'all be all over the place with your news and stuff when you're looking at it. Like TradingView has pretty much everything that y'all need when it comes to trading. Okay, so if you're a news person or a fundamental person, like you can go and look at the news on here. Okay, y'all can do a lot of stuff on TradingView. That's why I love it. I fell in love with it the moment that I saw it. But if there's something else, if y'all need me, you can DM me, email me, check my stand store, you guys, if y'all want to work with me, or if you want the price action masterclass. Go study this information, go back test this information, test what I just said in this. Do these candlesticks really repeat at the highs and the lows? Go see for yourself. And if it does, and if you say, man, she's right, now you go use it. You go simplify what you're doing. Okay. Love you guys. God bless y'all. Talk to y'all later.